and I might jump in as we go through this. So Lorraine and a team have done really an amazing job on revising our marketing materials for our listing presentation, or your listing presentation. And it's a slightly different orientation. And I've kind of mentioned this, a couple times. Like I think I mentioned it in my video on Monday. We're in this environment now where our deal structuring skills and our deal assessment skills are really important, right? So if we have listings that are getting, I don't know, I mean, like, 2 offers on a listing is, seems kind of passé now, right? So if we're in an environment where we got listings that are getting, 4, 5, 6, 7 offers, right? So the question really isn't about, are we going to find a buyer? We're going to find a buyer. That we already know that. It's going to be, what's the right buyer? And so our deal savvy, our deal sourcing skills are at their absolute prime right now, right? I mean, that is what people are looking for. And so we've really led with our deal skills. So we're kind of majoring in deal skills and kind of minoring in marketing, right? Now traditionally, most listing presentations are really all about the marketing. And of course, marketing is still important. It's just that right now, right, we've got a large reservoir of buyers. And so really finding, buyers in general is not that complicated, okay? Making sure we're getting the right deal for people and the right deal structure, that is complicated. And so that's kind of what we're leading with. And think about it in terms like this, that there's from a seller's perspective, okay, and I know we're already seeing this, from a seller's perspective, they already think, hey, I just go put my house in the market, put a sign in front of it, and boom, it's gone. And they have no idea what happens, right, from the time we put it on the market until the time we actually hit the closing table. And that's really what we're talking a lot about now, is that our value, the reason why you want to pay us 5 or 6%, okay, is really because of our deal savvy, our deal structuring skills, all right? Because this is not a slam dunk. And being able to source, if you've got 7 offers or 5 offers, and being able to source which one is the best, okay? Well, if you do a good job of sourcing that, you've paid for your commission already, right? You've already made money on the commission you're paying me. And that kind of sets the table for this discussion. So, we've already got a robust marketing plan. You don't need to worry about that. What you're really hiring me for, where I bring the most value in this market, is helping you source the right deal, right? So that's kind of the premises of this. Now, the market that we're in, right, this kind of fevered pitch is just a moment in time. We'll transition into a lower intensity market at some point, or some other type of environment that will require us to change the marketing presentation again. So nothing's permanent, but this is really more of a change that will accommodate the market conditions that you find yourself in. So we're really excited about it, and some of the way that Lorraine was able to position and reposition the discussion points in here, I think you're going to find very useful. So, Lorraine.
All right, thank you. So let me share my screen. And, Chris mentioned flexibility. So one of the kind of overarching thoughts behind this new presentation was to make this flexible. So we've actually designed this in PowerPoint. And right now we're looking at the portrait style, the 8.5 by 11 vertical version, which also is saved as an ebook. But we also have created a landscape version, which you can present digitally, through a laptop or a tablet. It makes for a nicer presentation when you're face-to-face with somebody than this flip book, which can be a little bit small up on the screen. So both options are available. They are identical other than the layout. And because it's created in PowerPoint, you have the ability to go in and tailor this, make changes, add your photo, add a photo of the subject property, add your specific points, and really kind of make this your own. So we've given you kind of the framework, and then you can tailor it to whatever you need. So just wanted to show you this version quickly, which is what you're used to seeing. This is the ebook. All of these pieces will be saved individually into Toolkit so that you can mix and match and create whatever presentation you need for any given property. So all of the pieces will stand alone as well. But after I show you this quickly, I'm going to flip over to the landscape PowerPoint presentation, because the other thing we've done is we've tried to take a lot of the busyness out of the presentation and put it more in the talking points, in the notes. So this will be more in your voice talking to the seller rather than giving them a piece of paper to read and you're reading it, you know, to them. These are things that you'll be able to change into your voice. And, you know, we've just kind of helped you give those, give you those triggers and those talking points. And I can't see the chat while I'm presenting. So Angela, if you would just interrupt me at any time if there's anything that I need to clarify.
Sure, Lorraine, one of the questions that we're getting is, do we know the file size if someone needs to send us a PDF? Our last one was too big, they felt.
Yeah, this works out to about an 8 megabyte file, which is still big, but is doable by every email program.
And I will just give the disclaimer, yes, this is being recorded and it will be in the bulletin. So you'll be able to see that again.
Yes. So right here in the front cover, you can see we're not calling this a listing presentation or a marketing plan. This is really a well thought out strategy for the particular property. And the way to really make that personal is to replace this stock photography with a photo of the property that you're going to, same as you would for a CMA. So this is very easy to do in PowerPoint. You just click on the photo and replace it. And by the way, this is going to be today a high level overview of this entire book. We are going to go a deep dive into how you deliver this to your clients. We're going to have multiple sessions on this. We're going to be talking with the business support specialists about how they can help you and help modify this book. So this is going to be something that we roll out over about the course of a month. It will be available for you right away, but if you want more instruction or more time with it for it to really gel, then we'll be doing that. So, and then of course you'll replace your photo and your contact information right on the front cover so that you stay front of mind, and the customer's address. So again, I'm just going to show you this flip book really quickly because this is what you're used to seeing, but then I'm going to switch over into PowerPoint. So this is the new look of the book. And then we're going to do a deep dive into each of the pages. Again, that was just to let you know that that version is still available if that's what you're comfortable with and that's what you like to present, or you like to email that link to your clients, we will be able to do that. So, but this is the PowerPoint, and this is, as I mentioned, this is designed to have the stuff that's on the slide, which is what your client will see, but then there's talking points that we've provided so that it helps you explain what is on the screen or what is on the slide. So I won't go into all of this today. Again, this is just meant to be more of a high level overview of what this is. What to expect in today's market. So we're starting right off at the beginning of the presentation. Let's talk about what today is like. And it's no surprise to anybody here, but low inventory, really high demand. But what does that mean to the seller? What can they expect? And how are you as their agent going to help them navigate all of that? And then our standard promise, your promise to your client, is about experience, quality, and what you bring to the table as a BHG agent. Just a real high-level snapshot of the categories that you as an agent will handle for your client. And it is so much more than marketing, as Chris said. You know, right now, while we do have robust marketing plan outlined in here, it's really more about how you are going to take any offer and bring it all the way through to the closing. So providing guidance every step of the way and helping to navigate the market and facilitate discussions and interpret really complex data and the different offers that might come in. And this, I know this is tough to see on the screen. I'll try to blow it up a little bit, but this roadmap, we're calling it the Road to Sold, shows some of the milestones that are present, all the way from the very first consultation meeting, which is when you'll be presenting this, all the way through to the closing process. And a lot of the stuff, we've kind of, here in the beginning, the marketing stuff, we've almost minimized that because that's less important in today's market than all the stuff that happens after, and all the coordination and the discussions and the negotiating and things like that. So that's where you really want to explain your value to the client. And Ed, Angela, Chris, feel free to chime in if I'm not hitting any
Sure. I
points hard enough.
just put out, like, imagine the conversations you can have with your client with this video, with this visual, excuse me. It really is such a great place for you to showcase who you are, what you can do with them, and problem solving, a great problem solving tool as well. And in the chats, people are loving this as well. They love the graphic. It's been fantastic. The visuals, super good. Thumbs up from all of us.
Yeah, and one thing I'll just note too, this is a long version of it. We'll offer up a short version too. So depending on how well you know your client, you may want to go in with the short version of this deck. And this would be one of those slides that would be critical. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, no, thank you, Kristen. Yeah, so one thing about this, okay, is, thank you for zooming that in. So this is a great place, okay, where again, as you can see how we kind of start with the marketing, and that's, that path is kind of a little bit thinner and it thickens out towards the end, towards the closing sign, right? So to the sold sign. And this is a great place for you to anecdotally drop in stories about other transactions. Of course, they're clients, so you have to sanitize it. But, things that people could run into and the solutioning that you've done. Because most people, well, I shouldn't say most people, really almost everybody, they don't really understand what we do behind the scenes and how, some of these critical decisions and relationships we have, whether they're with home inspectors or appraisers or, whatever the case may be, how critical those relationship skills are into getting, to getting a transaction done. And so I think this is a great place to really articulate the transaction so that the seller client can get a little bit of the energetic feel about what goes on. All right. So the reason we first started talking about this, I referred to this as the Candyland board map. But this is really a roadmap to closing. And feel free to drop in your stories, because your stories, the ability to tell stories as you're relating to people is really critical, right? So just kind of keep that in mind when you're going over this. So because most people, don't forget, the average person sells a house every 9 to 11 years now, and a lot changes. Think about the environment we're in, right? A lot changes between 9 and 11 years. So a lot of the nuancing in here would actually be new to people.
I'd like to also add that this slide in particular, when you look at some of these bubbles, right, conduct safe showings, evaluate every offer, just to amplify what Chris said, underneath each of those categories are a myriad of stories and experience that you can use to demonstrate what your value is in the transaction. Lots of us will be going out on listing presentations for people that are trying to decide if they're going to go FSBO because they know that they can find a buyer. But, this is where, as Chris said, if they've sold one house in the last 9 to 11 years, they don't have any idea how to conduct safe showings. And you do, and you have experience in it. And probably, from what I've seen in some of the markets, our agents are doing a much better job at this conducting safe showings and evaluating offers than other people are. And so this is, you know how when you're showing a house and you can tell when the buyers sort of linger in a room a little bit because that room is the thing that's sort of doing it for them right now with their vision. And so you just hold back and then you talk more about that room. There are lots of opportunities in this whole presentation where you're going to see people linger on a thing. And every point along the way here is an opportunity for you, when you see them lingering, to talk to them about what your value is in the transaction and to really demonstrate it through storytelling.
And just one more thing, and we're going to be mindful of the time. This description right here, this is worth, if done correctly, which you guys do, this is worth thousands of dollars of additional value to your seller client, not hundreds, thousands, right? If done right, makes the commission that they're paying, almost irrelevant from an expense perspective.
And this really becomes, you could spend your whole time just on this slide and not even get to the subsequent pages, because you know this inside and out anyway. And the rest is really just explaining everything that is already here on this roadmap. So, and now is the point in the presentation where it's really about getting to know the seller and their motivations and about their property. You can't solve a problem for them if you don't know what the problems are or why they're selling or what the challenges might be for that property. So this is where we pause and actually talk to the seller, ask them a bunch of questions. We've seeded the slide with some questions, but we also have some additional questions down in the talking points that you may want to refer to, so that when you understand their motivations and why they're moving, what problems they're trying to solve, you know what to focus on in the subsequent part of the presentation. Not telling you anything you don't know there, but that's the reason behind that slide. So let me zoom back out a little bit because can't see. So this is about the Mass Yellow Group. The most important thing here is 98% of our clients would recommend our services to family and friends. That number is, we're so proud of it, and it's just something that we really should be shouting from the rooftops because of the expertise and the in-house services that we have and the support, and just, we know how to get this done seamlessly. And then we close more transactions, or we sell more units, or sorry, I'm not saying that correctly, but we do more business than our nearest competitor. So, and this is the entire 2020 figure. So, and well, I'll talk about BHG in a minute. I don't want to minimize the relationship with BHG, but what you bring to the table over any other agent is the in-house services that we can call upon at a moment's notice for any question or trouble or snag or any problem with the transaction. You pick up the phone and you've got access to title, mortgage, insurance, legal, anybody that can help solve any kind of problem, or even something as simple as the photography is not showing up correctly in the MLS feed. You've got an in-house department that handles that. And that complete team of in-house experts is dedicated to the successful sale. So that is not to be overlooked as well. This is very important. And I don't know if you guys want to elaborate on those relationships too, but.
I think when in a client level relationship, where the point you want to make is that I have embedded on-demand resources that are dedicated solely for helping me represent you at a higher level. Embedded on demand. And really, almost nobody else has that. Now, some companies have title, but they don't have like a strong mortgage relationship. Some people have mortgage, but they don't have title, but they don't have insurance. Some people, almost nobody has on-staff attorneys, and we have 4. So we're so fortunate, right, with Jim Fleming and me and Marcus on the title side, and we just brought on a new corporate attorney, Tim Coughlin, to handle kind of corporate needs and things like that. So we have this really strong bench of resources that, although you might not need them in on every transaction, but if you need something, anything's just a phone call away. The sales directors, I mean, you're talking hundreds of years of transactional experience, right? Those are embedded on-demand resources.
So not to be minimized is the power of the trusted household brand that is Better Homes and Gardens. So by planting this yard sign right out in front of their house, it's basically a stamp of approval that this home is straight out of Better Homes and Gardens. And a brand name that has been well known for all things related to the home for generations. Consumers do business with brands that they trust. So these statistics we've provided you so that you can help frame what that brand relationship means. This is a brand that is trusted and is the foundation on which we are built, where you know, it's just a broader reach than any other lifestyle brand. It's the only lifestyle brand in real estate, trusted source of all things related to the home. So that has naturally extended into real estate, and why Better Homes and Gardens is the expert in everything related to the home. And you know, you're part of that legacy. So again, we're going to dig deep into how you can actually deliver these talking points and make it sound like your language. This is just meant to be the overview. So, you know, marketing, of course, extremely important, maybe less important in these days, but still very important to what your client wants to hear you going to do for them. So number one, right after taking the listing, is going to be the photography. So we've provided this slide with some stock photography, but you have the ability to very easily click on any of these photos and replace them with your own. So photos of homes that you've sold or other examples. And this is also, anywhere in this presentation you see highlighted in red or yellow is your opportunity to make this your own. So maybe you always do Matterport for all of your listings. You're going to want to put that in here as a highlight. Or if this particular property that you're presenting for is one that would really lend itself well to aerial photography, so that you can see where it is in space or its proximity to water or something like that. And if that matters to you and or to the property that you're presenting, this is where you would highlight photography. And then we talk about marketing to where the buyers are. And this is where we, the Mass Yellow Group, really shine, is our ability to reach a consumer no matter where they are, and whether they are just driving right by the property or they're searching from across the world, we have a way to reach them. So visibility surrounding the consumer. Better Homes and Gardens is everywhere. Social media. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. One of the biggest tools that we have, or that you have at your disposal, is the Pinpoint program. And this is a great way to talk about how you can drill down to who are the target buyers for this type of property and reach them directly through this exclusive database that only you have access to as part of BH&G, and use that to your advantage. And we've even put little notes in here for you that this would be a great place, excuse me, great place for you to print out a copy of a prospect report right out of Pinpoint, so that on the presentation you can show them, I've already done a little bit of research into who the type of buyer for your home is, and I've got 643 people right now that I can reach that I know are looking for this type of property. Likewise, not related to Pinpoint, but this would also be great for you to print out of TMG Connect, a reverse prospecting report. So little sidebar about what that is. So our collective database, the entire Mass Yellow Group, all in one database, so that when you put in this property address, just say it's a 2,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, you put in those statistics, those criteria, you put that into TMG Connect, and it will tell you how many people in our collective database right now have a saved search looking for 2,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. So you know, when you put this property on the market, those people are instantly going to get notified that this property has hit the market. So, and that number is usually pretty large, depends on how unique your property is. But if it's something like 2,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, we know there's a lot of people looking for that in whatever price point. So those are people that will be notified immediately, and you can have that report ready and bring it with you. So you can say, as soon as I put this property on the market, I know these people in my company's database are going to get notified. So I mentioned we want to make sure that we're finding the best buyers no matter where they are looking. They may be driving by in the neighborhood. They may be searching online. They may be on social media. They may be relocating from somewhere else in the country, or maybe even around the world. And we have the ability to reach them. So let's talk a little bit about each of those things. So if they're driving by in the neighborhood, we can reach them with our texting capabilities. So if you're using sign panels that have a custom text code, we have the explanation down here about how you will explain that to your client. If you're just using the sign riders, which is going to be a text code specific to that particular property, so we have the explanation there. And we do have training available on this. So if you're not familiar or don't know how to do it or haven't jumped in there yet, then that's something that we will want to make sure that we get you trained up on and using, because anybody driving by, you want to capture that lead. You don't want them looking up the address, maybe ending up on somewhere else and somebody has bought that lead. We want that to come directly to you. And so we'll show you how to do that. If they're searching online, we syndicate our listings to more than 250 home search websites, all the big ones, lots of little ones, hundreds of them. And so no matter where somebody is searching, they're going to find that property with your name attached to it. On social media, we're reaching them there too. So as you know, through the Boost program, so your listing, when you take this listing, you can tell your client, I'm going to advertise this for 3 days in a very specific, to a very specific group of home buyers. And your property is going to be seen by people who are looking for this exact type of property. And I will get those inquiries immediately. So I'll be able to respond. Because it's social media, it's shareable. We never know where a buyer is going to come from. But, you know, because it's easily shareable across a platform, you know, it could end up with somebody that we weren't even expecting. And we're going to put that ad for your property all throughout the internet on popular websites like HGTV and the Weather Channel and you know, other popular websites. So remember that you need to actually opt in to Boost in order to be able to do this, but we're hoping that you all will do that. If they're searching by the address of the property, I'm going to get a little geeky on you for a minute, but when somebody searches for a property address like 123 Main Street, if a website has that at that search term, forget about the fact that it's a street address, but that search term, if that search term is in the URL of a website, that helps it rank higher in the search results. So we do that automatically for you for every property that every listing that you take. So if you were to take 123 Main Street, we create an entire web page dedicated to 123 Main Street. And if you're not familiar with these single property websites, then I highly recommend you look it up on your own, but pull one of these up for your clients so that they can see that this is a dedicated page just for their property without all other listings to distract them. This is one that's just all about their home, their property. If you go into TMG Connect and click on listings, you will see 3 examples that you can click on and pull up for your client. So if you just have that at the ready, you can show them, here's an example of what this page will look like. And again, there's no other listings. There's no other noise. This is all about their property.
Lorraine, I
Yeah.
love that. I'm just going to go back to that one because I think that is so cool. Because 9 times out of 10, when people are out driving around and they go do a search, they're putting in the property address. They're not pulling up an app. They're not doing anything else. They're pulling up that property address. And there they go. They've got that website that's just dedicated to that property. They're going to get all that information. So I just, that is so key. And I don't think we can stress enough how important that is.
And relocating. So, you know, Chris mentioned this, and you'll see down here, this map down here in the corner where we're tracking where our buyer traffic is coming from or where our buyers are coming from. And this is for most of 2020. We started tracking in April. So April to December, we saw a huge migration of people. If I were to zoom out on this map, you would see that there's even, you know, West Coast buyers that are coming all the way into New England for the wide open spaces of New England. So certainly we have a lot of movement within New England, but you can see we have a lot of people coming from everywhere else into New England as well. And why that matters to your seller is we know where to target our efforts, and we know where to showcase their property, where the buyers are likely to come from. And because of our relationship with all of these relocation companies, and we're networked with the largest relocation and corporate relocation companies, because of those relationships, all of those people that are migrating to the Northeast, you know, we have the way to harness all of that as well. And likewise around the world, we are the only company, the only real estate company in New England that has our listings up on the international MLS. So you can explain to your client, they are likely familiar with the MLS and what that means, but you can explain there's an international MLS, and we are the only brokerage in New England that has our listings on that. And our listings are syndicated to more than 70 countries and are translated into 100 languages, more than 100 languages. And again, why does that matter? Because there's a lot of foreign money coming in for real estate investment purposes and just international buyers. And we want to make sure that that property is being seen by any potential buyer, no matter where they are located, because we don't know where the buyer is going to come from. So we want to make sure we are everywhere that they are. Oh, any questions about any of that? Sorry, I just jumped ahead. Okay, I got lost. Okay, and then ongoing evaluation. So this is an example of a List Hub report. We have other seller reports that you can get from TMG Connect, and we're working on consolidating all of these because there's a few different roads you could take here. And the reason for that is because we are pushing our listings out through multiple channels out to different places. But List Hub, if we just stick with that, bring an example of that, and it shows how people are interacting with the listing. Are they clicking on it? Are they asking questions? Are they putting in showing requests? We can track all of that information so that we know if we need to tweak anything. You know, we have the real-time data to be able to understand how the property is being received in the market. Safety during in-person showings or any kind of in-person traffic, whether it's going to be if you feel that having an open house is something you want to do. So if it's an open house or a showing, or even for an inspection or appraisal, you want to explain that we follow the highest protocols we have since the very beginning of this COVID situation. We take it very seriously, and we follow all the latest protocols. Now, again, this slide is editable. So if there's something that you do that is above and beyond, or something that you want to highlight, you could certainly put that in here as well. Negotiation and closing, this is not to be minimized, but this is where you shine. And again, is a bullet list that, but I would at this point refer back to that roadmap of road to close and explain, you know, that it's so much more than just taking your listing and making it available through the MLS. And then looking beyond the sale, we have a great program to help your clients save money when they're moving. So we know that that's one of the most stressful things, is probably the thing they're looking forward to the least about this entire process is packing up and moving. Let's kind of take some of those pains away. So this is the BHGRE Moves program that you likely have heard of. And if not, I recommend you look into that as well. Sign your client up to receive these email offers, and they will save lots of money during their moving process. And so now here's where you actually get down into the meat of your CMA. So let's talk about what is affecting your home value right now in today's market. It's for sure the listing scarcity. It is high buyer demand. It is this migration of buyers that we're seeing coming into the area. And then also what has sold recently in your neighborhood. So this is where you would insert your CMA and talk about the highlights and the specifics. Again, a very tailorable slide here that you can talk about very specific information about that market, that neighborhood, or that property and what's happening. And then experience you can trust. So here's where you're going to bring it all home, explaining who you are and what is your background. So you would replace this photo with your own, of course. Again, this is done in PowerPoint for anybody that missed that. This is in PowerPoint. It's extremely easy for you to edit. You can put in a map or examples of your recent sales. Very easy to tailor this and customize it. We've even given you a template for explaining success stories. So preferably one that is similar to this property so that the seller will resonate, it will resonate with that seller, the story that you're telling about not only here's some properties that I sold, that's wonderful, but here are the challenges we faced. Here's the result of that. And here's the testimonial in their own words about how that all worked out or what that meant to them or what my experience helped to do throughout that process. So while putting testimonials in is wonderful, if you can actually give that some kind of context about why that testimonial is so powerful, that's going to help resonate and help that gel with your client even more. And then the investment. So all of this, you know, comes at a price. I bring a lot of expertise to the table, and here's how this helps frame that conversation, which it helps you demonstrate your worth through everything that we've talked about in this presentation. But all of this goes into effect day one. Day one, I start working for you, and you don't have to pay me until your home sells. So I don't know if anyone wanted to chime in on that one. Okay.
I just think putting the investment slide in, it kind of takes the elephant in the room head on. It just gives you a great simple way to have a direct conversation about commission.
I'm thinking of what Matt Ferrara said. Was it Matt Ferrara? No, somebody recently said that you know, your fee is directly related to your value of the transaction. And the nice thing about this presentation is, done properly, you can really establish what your value is to this transaction. And we shouldn't be shy about talking about our fee, particularly when your fee's on one side of the scale and your value to the transactions on the other. When you're really confident in that, and this document really helps with that confidence, you know, it's important to put it right out there.
Yeah, and I
Correct.
think too, to also understand, right, that sellers are getting kind of pummeled. Like even with my interview, I had an interview for one of the New Hampshire TV stations yesterday, and you know, like you could even sense in the interview, it's like, well, hey, this is like shooting fish in a barrel, right? And it's like, no, it's not. You know, I mean, we're working harder than we ever have, and I think getting that out on the table, that this isn't about, this really is probably less about marketing, and this is really more about, you know, what you're hiring me for is my deal experience, so I can help you navigate what really can be a challenging environment between COVID, multiple offers, making sure we're selecting the right offer out of the flight that we have, you know, and putting that right on the table and getting that out immediately. And that, you know, that there's this misnomer that, you know, all I'm going to do is market the property and try to find you a buyer. That's just where the work begins. And getting that right out there, then you can start to build value. And like Lorraine said, telling stories and, you know, anecdotes and things like that, very powerful.
And then we've added a few pages at the end just to help you have any conversations that you may need to about getting the home ready for sale. if there's some curb appeal or some interior work that needs to be done, these slides will help you have those conversations. And then another a great value add that you bring to the table is the ability to have an interior designer consult with the customer, and they can help them stage their home. You know, for $9.99, you could purchase this for your client, and they'll have a virtual consultation. They'll say, you know what, you're putting this up for sale. If you do this, this, and this to your room, it's going to just sell or show so much better. Just keep in mind, you also can do this for your buyer clients on the other side. So when they get into their new home and they need help setting up their new home, this is a great value add for $10. And then that's the end. And I think I just wanted to go back to what Chris was just saying, because I don't think I did this justice when when I first teed this off, was, you know, talking about today's market and about really it is so much more than the marketing. It's about evaluating every offer and interpreting them and ensuring that the client's financial interests are protected, and that all the resources that you have available to execute and bring something all the way through flawlessly, or as flawlessly as possible, to sale. That is the value that you bring.
Hey, Lorraine.
Lorraine, can you
Yeah.
do a favor? Can you just put it in PowerPoint mode for a second, into share mode? Because people in the comments are talking about the size of it. And I want people to realize Zoom actually adds a layer onto here. So it's not really high enough res, as well as it was in the frame. So when you get this on your own PC, it's going to be very clear. And it's going to, like, night and day, right?
Yep, I had that so that you could see the talking points that we've put in there for you. So when you get the PowerPoint file, you will have those as reference. But when you present, you're not going to present it. You'll present it this way. Once you're familiar with those talking points and how to deliver the information, you won't need those anymore.
Sorry,
This is
Rebecca, I
how-
kind of talked on you.
Exact same question. Thank you.
Okay. I knew.
It's a great tool, Lorraine, and I love how it's teed up, and I love the flow of it. It really is going to give you that opportunity to go back to what everyone was saying about the professional fee, right? If you're actually following along with this and you take your time on that roadmap, the professional fee is not going to be a hard conversation. You will have your value well spelled out by the time you get to that conversation.
See if I can, oh, I can. I don't know how that green line ended up on there, but that's not part of the charm here. Okay, were there any other questions in chat?
I think Kristen has been answering a lot of them, as well as you have been doing it. I think we should also mention that Distinctive Collection will also get a new listing presentation as well, correct?
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I didn't mention, so somebody asked about the file size at the beginning of the call. What actually a better way to present this, if you're going to be sending this to somebody, would be to, once you've done all of your edits and you've changed out the photo to your photo, and then I would suggest that you save this. If you're going to be sending it as opposed to presenting it personally, save it as a PDF, but put that up on your website and then send them a link. So that way you're driving them to your website, not just sending them an attachment in email. And we can show you how to do that, but that would be, or you could even, yeah, that would be a better way to present this than just to send an attachment. All right, well, I will stop my share. And so next steps, if there weren't any more questions. Today, we will put a copy of this presentation in the bulletin. And in the bulletin, we'll explain how you can access this PowerPoint and start to make changes. And then I'll also put instructions about the ebook, which is a little more complicated, because if you're going to edit the portrait style version and turn that into an ebook, there's going to be an added step involved. So, and then as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have multiple walkthroughs about this. We're going to dive deeper. We're going to work through the support specialists and through the sales directors. We want to make sure that you are comfortable with everything that's here and delivering it. So while we will make it available very soon, if you're not comfortable, we'll keep the old stuff available for the time being. Probably be some kind of transition period, maybe by May 1st, we'll phase out all the others completely into this new. All these pages, as I mentioned, will be separated and uploaded individually into Toolkit. So it's going to take a little bit of time for us to make all that happen. So, but we'll make sure that you get a copy of this video from today, this afternoon in the bulletin, so you can at least see it again and become familiar.
All right, well, Lorraine, Kristen, and team, great job. And I think this really gives us a tool that is right for the time. And you know, because we have all these resources in-house, right, as markets shift or circumstances shift, we can adjust very quickly. And you know, so this will be a living, breathing document, right, as we start to move through different phases of market conditions. So I think you've got a really great tool. And please remember, tell stories. They're so important for people because they're relatable. So if we are good, Angela?
We are good.
Okay, have an amazing day. Thank you,
Okay.
Lorraine. Good job.